Hey, Buffyverse fans. I am back to talk about Angel episode 14 and 15 of season 1, which is I've Got You Under My Skin, and The Prodigal. So, for episode 14, I've Got You Under My Skin, I might be wrong here, but I think this is the first time we ever get a previously on Angel pre episode recap, which is unusual. And because it was so unusual, it made me sit up and pay attention because I'm like, okay, whatever they're putting in this recap is going to be important for this episode. But I guess seeing as we're almost done with a full season of Angel, there is enough canon now that they need to recap certain things. So I found that interesting. I always notice when there's something new at the top of an episode, whether it be in the title card or as a recap. And this was something that flagged my attention for sure. As I mentioned in my previous videos about Angel, I'm really liking the found family dynamic between Angel, Wesley, and Cordelia. Wesley is slowly growing on me. And I really like the depth they're giving Cordelia, and I like the friendship between Angel and Cordelia. And I'm so relieved that they're not making them a romantic pairing because I really think they work well as like platonic close friends. Something I never thought I would say, by the way, watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer, never in a million years. So Angel is really taking things and making them beautiful, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I liked in this episode that they touched on sort of the ongoing grief that these characters are experiencing having lost Doyle. It has left like a huge hole sort of in their group, and Wesley is a different person. He's not going to completely fill the hole that Doyle left behind. And I thought it was interesting when Angel accidentally called Wesley Doyle, and then that kind of spurred a heart-to-heart between him and Cordelia about Doyle. I really liked that whole scene. I thought that was really interesting, and I really enjoy it when shows like this don't just move past something terrible that happens. Like, it has lasting impact on the characters. Now, you can probably guess what I'm gonna say next, given that the topic of this episode centered around an exorcism. Okay, you guys, Supernatural fan clocking in here. This was painful to watch. It was. But it was funny in a lot of ways. But the entire time I was watching this episode, all I could think of, unfortunately, was how Supernatural handles exorcisms in their show. Obviously, Supernatural came later. And it just, as a Supernatural fan, deeply made me want to go and like rewatch some episodes of Supernatural, which is like the siren song I ignore all the time. Many of you don't know this because you're following me only for Buffy stuff, but like I consumed so much Supernatural over the course of like a 2-year period between 2024 and 2025 that I am not allowed, as a rule to myself, to rewatch the show this year because it like was an issue. So anyways, this episode really, everything around the exorcism of this demon, there was like Criminal Minds kind of elements. I really liked, though, back to the actual plot of this episode, I really liked how you think it's the parents that are the bad guys at first, the way they shoot and kind of like introduce the story, and the turn of the episode, which a lot of these episodes have between both Angel and Buffy. The turn is it's actually the kid. The kid is low-key evil. They're like, oh, okay, there's a demon inside this kid. They go to exorcise him, and the demon inside the kid is like, actually, the second twist of the episode happens. This kid is just evil through and through. In fact, me as a demon I've never seen anything so evil in my life. He scared me. He's the problem, not me. I was like, that's crazy. That's crazy that this demon was like, I don't fuck with that, actually. I don't fuck with that, and he scares the shit out of me, which was the subtext of basically what he was saying. I was like, oh wow, they made this child pure evil. That is a crazy twist. I loved all the little quips in this episode, though. I'm looking at my notes now, like, you know, the woman who has this like angel obsession, which I thought was funny. I liked when Angel showed up with brownies and he's like so awkward. He's like, I use chocolate, which turns it brown, which gives them their name. So funny. I wrote here, I was like, I would have loved a Supernatural Angel crossover episode. That would have been incredible. Anyways, I thought the mom was so stupid for breaking the salt circle. I was like, you know that's a bad idea. Why are we breaking the salt circle? And I loved that Angel was worried about Wesley doing this because of what happened to Doyle. It's like, okay, he actually cares about him. I liked the line, "Your Latin sucks." I thought that was funny. And then, okay, so we get a little bit of Wesley trauma through this episode. I'm looking at my notes now. The demon that was playing into Wesley's insecurities and trauma, and Wesley clearly has daddy issues, which is like many such cases, right? Not him being stabbed in the neck with a crucifix. That was crazy. I was shook to my core. The whole concept of a vampire doing an exorcism, though, was so interesting to me. And I loved Angel saving the girl from the house fire that the boy set. Yeah, I was like, he's very strong and heroic for that. It's very superhero core. Just overall, like my whole like takeaway from this episode was that like there was like a twist within a twist within a twist, and I love it when these shows do that and they pull it off well, which I think this episode they pulled it off really well. Okay, now we have episode 15, The Prodigal. I'm gonna be so honest with you all. I hate the flashbacks in this show. At first it was like silly, goofy, funny, haha, because like the wigs are bad, the accents are bad, all of it is just like terrible, like to the point of being funny. But there's been enough of them now where I'm like, I actually just like actively check out, unfortunately, because I know that they have plot in there that's important, but like it's so cringe inducing to me that like I can't even like really watch it with my eyes. Like I kind of have to just be like, all right, okay. It's like the secondhand embarrassment goes crazy. So this is another episode written by Tim Minear, who I associate with 911 because he is the current showrunner and one of the like creators of 911. And I love looking at like his previous work and trying to find through lines of sort of like his style of humor and writing and how it is manifesting in the shows he's currently writing. That's just a whole nerd thing I do on the side. Anyways, this episode was written by Tim Minear. I was clocking that. And this was a big episode for Kate, who I like as a character. I do think what happens to her dad gets, munched on and eliminated. And this was kind of like the inciting incident for her to finally start wanting to be kind of like brought into the fold of what's happening more, acknowledging that they are demons, calling them as such, because before she did not want any part in it. It was very like important for her character arc, I think. So while, rip her dad, I think it will probably like push her character arc along. That's my guess. Back to the Tim Minear thing, because he loves to write daddy issues, if you will. Because holy moly, one of my last notes for this episode is daddy issues basically run television, highlighting how Angel will always be traumatized by his dad and that his revenge won't erase the damage their fractured relationship did, no matter how long he lives, is wild. Like, that is kind of the point of the whole episode, between the parallels of like Kate and her dad, but like Angel and his dad back in the day, which, as much as I don't like the flashbacks, they were important for. Like, Tim Minear, that's his specialty. Yeah, those of you who have seen his other work know what I'm talking about. And I'm glad they're kind of bringing it up, because it does give a lot of color and history to like why Angel is the way he is, and like his upbringing, not even upbringing, but like his kind of becoming a vampire and who he was in the early days of being a vampire. And I like getting more lore there, so I will take the flashbacks in that case. Funniest line of the episode was, "God, do I have to think of everything around here? Someone get me an adrenal gland." That was one of the demons. I thought that was a funny line. We got the iconic crawling out the grave cinematic shot that is in a lot of TV and movies with Angel. I thought that was cool. And, the whole like scene where Cordelia and Wesley were getting jumped by multiple demons, that was crazy. The vampires that were like broing Angel as they killed Kate's dad in front of him because they wouldn't let him in was diabolical work. And Angel suiting up with multiple weapons to go fight was super hot, I'm not gonna lie. Another solid run of episodes from Angel. We are now switching back to Buffy the Vampire Slayer, so my next video I will be covering episodes 15, 16, and maybe 17 if I can fit it into one video. If not, that will be a separate video, which are the next 3 Buffy the Vampire Slayer episodes of season 4. One is a 2-parter, one is just absolutely bonkers crazy. There's so much to talk about, so I will see you then.